So I think it's time we dive back into the world of Sony and the PS5. Having just released a little over 2 years ago now, I think it is the perfect time to take a step back and see how the PS5 has performed thus far in its early stages of life. Up next. What up guys, this is Kalo. I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. Again, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Also drop a like on the video. So, the PS5 originally released on November 12th, 2020, and much like the Series X and S, the initial day one launch of this console was plagued with scalpers, chip shortages, and just overall limited amounts of supply that didn't even come close to demand. Back in June, Sony's leader of sales and business operations stated that Sony planned on a significant increase of production for the PS5. Sony even went as far to put a goal out there to ship at least 30.5 million PS5s in fiscal year of 2023, which is a 70% jump compared to their fiscal year 2022 goal of just 18 million consoles. But the bigger number here is the reporting of a total 25 million units sold for the PS5. Now, those numbers are great even considering all the controversy that has surrounded Sony over the past year, including their price hikes in certain countries and overhaul of their PlayStation Plus service that had a few pushbacks from fans. But on a recent earnings call, Sony themselves went on to claim that those price hikes had no effect on demand whatsoever. So I guess they kind of just said, let's just keep that ball rolling. Now that we covered all the boring numbers, let's talk about all the admittedly cool things Sony has done for the PS5, and that's a wide range of accessories. At launch, the PS5 and all of its accompanying hardware strictly released in the iconic black and white colorway. But since then, Sony has released a plethora of colored side plates, controllers, and even this cool digital camo side plate for the console that really gives you the ability to add some personal flair. Also, I just kind of want to take a second here to acknowledge that DualSense God of War Ragnarok controller. I think it's a work of art. Also, in general, this is where I think Sony truly goes under the radar. And this even goes as far back as the last console generation where they released that beautiful Spider-Man edition of the PS4 Pro, so I'm very interested to see where they take things this console generation. But getting back to the DualSense controller, Sony recently announced the DualSense Edge wireless controller, which is pretty much their take on the Xbox Elite controller. With this, you can expect more customization options when it comes to button layouts, swappable stick caps, control profiles, along with a slick carrying case, and all of that is included for $200, and it releases on January 26, 2023. Also, a quick note here is the announcement of the PSVR 2, which I did a full breakdown on a few weeks ago, so you might want to go check that out. Now, the user interface for the PS5 really hasn't changed much compared to the previous generation, but some things have been cleaned up, like activity cards and your trophy view. Now, the biggest improvement this time around, at least for what I gathered, was the addition of folders when it comes to your games. It does a nice job categorizing your games in select genres like indie titles, FPS games, and even Soulsborne games. Now, much like Xbox, Discord integration is on the way for the PS5, which, like I said in the Xbox video, will only make things better for gamers because, let's face it, Discord is wildly popular amongst gamers and is the preferred option of communication. Now, let's shift focus to all the cool games that the PS5 has to offer. Year one was dominated by games like Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon's Souls, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Returnal, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and even Deathloop. But year two had its fair share of heavy hitters like God of War Ragnarok, MLB The Show, Gran Turismo 7, The Last of Us Part 1, and Horizon Forbidden West. The future also looks good for the PS5 when it comes to games like The Wolverine and even Spider-Man 2. Let's not forget, PlayStation also has PlayStation Plus in its back pocket, which, much like I said, did get a massive overhaul to its tier system, which I did yet another full breakdown of that, so you might want to go check that out as well. But overall, more benefits, games, new and old, along with various services are offered across the board. Now, a newcomer to PlayStation is PlayStation Stars, which is basically along the lines of a loyalty service, which gives you reward points for completing games, and you can earn points on purchases that could be redeemed later down the line for in-store credit or even cool collectibles. So now that we've looked back at the past 2 years, let's look forward to 2023 and beyond. With the Game Awards coming up, I am sure there are plenty of new titles that are going to be revealed to the world. And honestly, do you think God of War has what it takes to do a clean sweep? Personally, I believe Elden Ring is taking home Game of the Year, but I can do a full video on my predictions for the Game Awards. But my answer for Game of the Year kind of changes day to day. But that about does it here. I've been KLO. I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming. And again, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. And I'll see you guys next time.